Hey y'all, welcome to Girl Meets Green. My name's Norma, your host of whatever, and today we're talking Love is Blind, Season 5, Episodes 5 through 7. This might be like the most unique, realist season yet. It is my thoughts that is because of the whole situation with Kinetic and contestants coming out about the circumstances of filming and how bad things were. And so I think they wanted to kind of show no, it's not. But what they really showed is okay, it was, but we made it better, in my opinion. And you can see that because it seems like these contestants seem way more comfortable with just ending things early if they realize early it's not going to work. We'll talk about that here, but also there were only 3 couples that ended up engaged. In other seasons, a lot of the engagements felt forced, right? A lot of after meetings was some of those relationships you were this does not need to go on to the altar. They need to end it now. But I think before there was pressure from producers, talk to the person, fix it, you gotta make it to the altar. The goal is to make it to the altar. This is definitely a unique season. And I love that things are happening organically. That's what I'm trying to get at. And I don't know why they didn't think that this would work early on, with the other seasons, because it's so much more interesting this way, right? Because when you have all 5 couples, you have the same pattern followed for all 5 couples. It can get boring after a while. After a while, you're just okay, next, conflict. It's engagement, honeymoon, living together, conflict, meet the parents at the altar, And so with this, it's more interesting because you're getting certain relationships that they actually filmed, someone who became a couple, just a regular boyfriend-girlfriend couple. We had a couple, because we had 3, now we're at 2 at this point. So we have a couple who dissolutes a few days into the honeymoon, a couple days into the honeymoon. Is dissolutes the right word? Dissolves? I don't freaking know. They ended. So yeah, we have all these different dynamics, and it's so much more interesting to see, you have watching Aaliyah and Uche, and just all these different things going on. It makes the show so much more interesting, more of a reality show vibe situation. I like it. In episode 5, we start off with Uche calling Aaliyah, in which I'm going to summarize this as best as I can. I don't vibe with Uche. He almost had me fooled, but he's so egotistical, narcissistic, arrogant. It's just he expects everyone to react accordingly, to be accordingly. Back off, dude. The way he talks to Aaliyah on the phone at the beginning of this episode, again, it's just the cheating thing where it's and you should have this, you should have that, and you didn't, so I'm done. And you didn't, so you cannot expect me to, and it's what the heck are you talking about? I could understand his feelings at first because I was damn, she didn't leave a note, she didn't sit to talk, she couldn't talk to him before leaving, what the heck? But then he gets on the phone, and while that doesn't make it okay for her to explain, it wasn't you, it was a situation with Lydia, XYZ, even if it wasn't Lydia, someone who has a past with you, whatever, one would think that this partner who wants to marry you and spend a lifetime with you would want to, understand and be there for you and be I'm sorry, that must have been so mentally taxing, or to just understand what state you're in emotionally or mentally. Why would I want somebody that when I'm going through something mentally, they're you're just not strong enough to handle that. You should have been strong enough to ignore that so that me and you could be okay. That's crazy talk. In the real world, in regular life, would we be would we say that that's okay for yourself or for anyone else? No, you'd be that's psychotic. So of course he's talking down to her at one point, he's you didn't think about my feelings at all. And she's are you thinking about mine? And he goes, all I do is think about you. I was going to marry you. And it's sir, that wasn't the question. Because once again, that's about you and what you wanted to do with her. She's asking if you understand her feelings, what she's going through right now, the situation she is in. No, because you're freaking thinking about you and how you feel she should have handled it, that she should have stayed and dealt with it mentally. She wasn't strong enough to be with you. That is nuts. Next up, we have Lydia and Milton meeting. And okay, I know. We're all Lydia still wants Uche. What's going on? She doesn't want Milton. She's just consolation prize vibes. And I'm gonna say something, and I could totally be wrong. Next episode, this could be flipped upside down. But over the time of watching them, I kind of feel sure, he probably did start off as a consolation prize, right? Like, I want to marry somebody. And so she was like, okay. But I'm starting to feel like they make sense together. Like, they have this, like, jokey vibe. And it is a little bit self-deprecating. It is a little bit of, like, we are just roasting each other. But some relationships work that way. Some people just have, like, not a mental capacity, but like, okay, me, I couldn't be in a relationship where we're roasting each other all the time, because I'm gonna take it to heart and I'll be in my feelings about it. I mean, I'm gonna come back at you and say some stuff, probably, if I come up with something, but it's gonna hurt my feelings, right? With them, I don't get that vibe. I feel like they're like poking at each other, and it's fine. I can see that Milton is kind of struggling with like her traits from being older than him, because you can see it, you know, like she's more like, do things this way, do things this way. Why do you do that like that? Why do you do like that? And he's kind of like, I'm just trying to chill. Like, let me do things the way I do them. What's the problem? Towel on the floor, big whoop. And I think over time it comes with like, you know, because you can see he's like fighting her on what pants to wear. And I feel like the older you get, like that stuff seems smaller than it is. Not that he's being dramatic or like he's not allowed to be like, I don't want to wear those. But like most men, at least at my age, I'm 30, would just wear them, right? Like, Cam, a lot of times I'll pull an outfit, not a lot of times, but when I do pull an outfit out for him and he's like, I don't like it, he still puts it on. Or if he's like, I don't know how I feel about this, he'll still wear it, because, you know, it's like, whatever, it makes her happy, let's move on. So you can kind of see like those small dynamics, but I will say from what I can see, he's not like repulsed by it, or he's not like, ooh, I don't know if I can be with her because of this. He's just kind of like, these are her quirks, and I get it, you know? And also, they connect on like their interests, you know, geology, rocks, like science, which honestly, connecting like on levels of like your interest, like your career, things like that, it's great because like you understand each other, you get it. So there's like a lot of good there, I feel like. All that to say, I kind of am feeling like Lydia and Milton could make sense. I could be wrong, we'll see. Although I feel like I'm not. I feel like I'm not, because in the upcoming, it seems like we see how they handle the situation we'll talk about towards the end of this. So I'm getting the vibes that they could make sense. Continuing on, next up, we have a scene with Taylor and JP. For the sake of time, and like it's the same-ish, I'm gonna kind of talk about them now, what happens with them in this episode and the next one, and like just move on from them. Basically, JP is not speaking at all. She's saying stuff to try to start a conversation, and he's just like, yeah, or like sips on his goblet. And for his sake, I'm gonna say it's editing. I'm gonna say maybe he said a couple more words, but I'm not convinced, because Taylor seems very emotional about the fact that this is going this way. Because I think like in the reveal, she was like, does he like me? Like crying because she's like, did I make a mistake? Like, what the heck? This is not going the way I thought it would. And then we see her crying more. So to me, that tells me that like it's happening more, right? Anyways, basically, she keeps going back and forth with him like, I need more, I need more. Everything feels awkward. I need more, I need more. He's like, just go with the flow. It'll click into place. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? That makes no sense. So she ends up deciding to like go to another room for the night. Then they meet back together, and she's basically like, I'm done here. I don't want this. And it seemed like maybe she wanted him to fight. He didn't. He was like, okay. And yeah, so they ended it. Thank God. I'm so thankful for Taylor. This is what I meant in the beginning when I was talking about it being more real, more organic. Is like, she saw, like, this isn't headed in any good direction, and ended it. I feel like with the past seasons, they would have, like, forced them to, like, continue this awkwardness to the wedding day. And it's like, no. Because it didn't seem like he had any interest. Like, she told him, we don't see it directly, but it's clear that, like, even, like, without editing, like, it seems like she had conversations with him of why it was awkward. Like, you're not talking. You're not, you know? So, to me, I'm like, she did what she could to explain to him what was going on. He didn't care to fix it. That's how I see it. So the couples meet, and I think this also solidified for Taylor. Like, I think she saw the other couples and where they were at. And I don't think it was that she was just like, we're not where they're at. I think she just realized they weren't going to get to where they were at. Izzy pulls aside Lydia, which, you guys, I am so over this need to talk to the people that we had spoken to in the pods and were close to marrying situation, meetings. I don't get it. Why would you care? Like, if you chose somebody and supposedly you love them so much, why would you care? It doesn't make sense to me why people want to talk to like the people they almost married or had a connection with. It's just weird to me. Like, especially if you're like, I'm so happy with who I picked. Why? We get that with Izzy. He feels the need to sit down with Lydia after a confessional of being like, she's really attractive, she's really pretty. And then he's like, you know, me and you had a connection. I don't know what it is with Izzy, but like, why do you feel the need to be like, yeah, no, like we could have been something. Like we were right there. We could have, who cares? And thankfully, Lydia was like, I'm in love with Milton. Seems like you're in love with Stacy. Like, what is this conversation for? Lydia meets Milton's friend. It goes well. Not much to that. Fun, cute banter between the three. Vibing with it. Cute moment. We have Stacy and Izzy talking money, baby. Izzy got money. Her daddy got even more money. You know? And honestly, this conversation is where, and I kept in mind, I don't know how many people did, but when Johnny was like bashing Izzy and why Stacy shouldn't be with him or whatever she was doing, she mentioned his credit score, like how he just got an apartment. Basically, like he has financial troubles. He told her about financial troubles. And for someone like that to be trying to act all calm, cool, and collected about it with Stacy, I'm like, you're not fooling anybody. And I feel bad because it seems like she doesn't know. Either she's like playing it up for the cameras, and just avoiding those specifics of the topic, or he didn't tell her and he told Johnny because he was more comfortable telling Johnny. I don't know, but it seems like she don't know. And he's out here like, oh, that's fine, yeah, I'll go half with you on a $20,000 HVAC. That, you know, that man ain't got no $10,000 in his savings. Why are we playing? Why are we playing? Stop it. Come on now. You can see the discomfort about money. And then when she was like, what about dinner? And he goes, oh, we'll go halves, which, whatever. But when she's like, no, he's like, no. He's like flabbergasted that she would say no. I think they need a way more in-depth money convo. I think that if he hasn't already disclosed to her, he needs to disclose where he's at. This episode ends with Aaliyah and Uche meeting. Uche. We're gonna go with that. I keep forgetting how names are pronounced. Anyways, we are with them meeting. Basically, Aaliyah is like, I want another chance. I still want to be with you, still want to marry you, still feel like you are the one. Which, like, baby, why can't you see the red flags? Why are you ignoring them so hard? But in this conversation, Uche basically is like, I knew she was your friend, Lydia. So I didn't want to like bash her to you and then you feel like taking her aside, and so it creates issues with us. But here's the deal. And basically he goes on to provide examples for Lydia being like psychotically obsessed with him. Here's the thing, right? Context can be everything. The examples he presented one after the other, can seem like strange and what the heck is going on, right? But there is a fact Lydia gives us at the end. Obviously, we don't know if they're telling the truth, who's telling the truth, who's lying. But Lydia adds some context where these things don't seem the way they seem. Does that make sense? Follow me here. At this point, he says Lydia looked through drawers in his house looking for things. She was looking at friends of his Instagram stories. He had people messaging him like, do you know who this is? They've been looking at my Instagram story consistently, or like blah, blah, blah. So he's like, yeah, she's looking through Instagrams, looking for me, keeping tabs on my friends and me. And then he brings up, there might have been more, but these are the three that I remember. Then he brings up her driving by his house, taking a picture of his driveway and being like, I see you. And he was so scared he didn't know what to do. So he broke up with her. But then he got back with her. Which, like, who the fuck? No. Doesn't make any sense. But got back with her, thought she could change, and then just realized no, and broke up with her again. And then she blocked him or so. I don't freaking know what he was trying to get at. But basically, I mean, we do. He was basically trying to say, like, yeah, she was crazy. She was so obsessed with me. She got therapy, she whatever. Which, why are you putting her business out there like that? Fucking weirdo. Fucking weirdo. I'm sorry. I don't like him, and I don't like what he's doing. Anyways, he says that Aaliyah basically reiterates her feelings where she was mentally with the Lydia situation, what happened with Lydia, how she said like, oh, if he doesn't propose to me, you could have him. And Lydia was like, fuck you, I don't want him. And so I guess that sparked the fight that made her want to leave or whatever. Which, like, yeah, stupid comment to make, but I don't think it was that as deep as, like, people are like, you know what I mean? Like, she shouldn't have said that. Why would she say that? It seems like something you'd say when you're bothered in a situation like that. It didn't seem very surprising to me that would have, something like that would have been said, but who am I, right? So yeah, she wants to get back with him. They're talking about that situation. He mentions, now this episode ends with this and the next episode begins with it. So I might be mixing up like what happens in which episode, but it is also mentioned that Aaliyah blocked him, unblocked him, and then blocked him again or something. She had sent like a voice note, and before he could listen to it, she took it back and blocked him, I think on text. I don't know. It was text and IG stuff. But here's where I'm like, Uche just does not like rejection and needs to be the man with the last word. Let's jump into episode 7 so we can further explore that. Basically, we jump in episode 7, which is a continuation, starts with the continuation of this dinner, where she asks him, so what now? And he basically goes through the speech to say, you are not the one for me. I do not want to be moving forward. Which, if this woman blocked him, he waited for her to unblock him to have this meeting, right? Because obviously, like, or he fought to communicate with this person, because any normal human would just, like, move on. Communicates with this person to meet with them and turn them down, like, listen to everything they have to say, how they still want to be with you, to turn them down. Makes no sense. It's petty. All it tells me is, like, he was, like, couldn't take rejection, needed to be the one doing the rejecting, so he did what he had to do to be the one who rejected her. I know what I just said is a little bit confusing with the whole, like, Lydia and him situation, but when we get to this other point with them two, then we'll talk more about why I think the things he was saying to make her seem like some stuff's a stalker are not that way, with a little bit more context. After the Aaliyah and Uche scene, we have Izzy taking Stacy to see his place. He proceeds to show her this lost and found basket that he thinks is so funny. I think he thought she would find it funny. Here's the thing with Izzy and Stacy. I'm gonna say this now just because, like, it's on my mind. They are not compatible. I understand how she feels like he provides everything emotionally, because she's probably used to men with a lot of money where there's that lack of, like, emotional connection or sensitivity, and so she's like, she has that with him, because at one point she does mention, like, it's so weird because he's so manly, but emotionally he's not. Like, emotionally he's really vulnerable, which we all want, right? That's, like, the perfect medium. You want that manly man that's not gonna just, like, not be emotionally available, right? But anyways, they are not compatible, because here is the thing, right? Money isn't everything, right? Money can't buy love, blah, 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 blah. But when you come from money, someone does not, or you have a lot of money, someone does not. It's not so much about the money itself. It's about, like, lifestyles, ways of being, things you want to be doing. Stacy has money, and she likes, like she said, she likes luxurious things. She likes to travel, and when she travels, she likes expensive things. She's not budgeting like us regular folk would do. Izzy, as much as he's trying to act like he's not, is a regular folk. He has to budget. He has to watch what he's doing and what he's using, right? Like, her family doesn't. We'll get into that. But this is where I'm like, they're not compatible, because I see this becoming a bigger issue in the future. Izzy is totally fine with his lifestyle. It's not like, oh, he doesn't have money yet, right? Like, he's not like, oh, but I want to be at your level. Like, that's what I want. He's comfortable where he's at. We see that in this. She sees his place. He's got plastic cups, paper plates, no glassware, like no actual glassware or like utensils. It's all plastic, as in disposable, or plastic like you would buy, like, you know, the plastic dollar ones at Walmart. And she's like, what the hell? And like, he's like, yeah, no big deal. And she's like, so if I came here, you were gonna like cook dinner for a date, you would serve me on paper plates and plastic cups? And he's like, yeah, like, I've done it before. He seems like confused as to why it's a big deal to her, or like she's addressing it the way she is. That made it clear to me that, like, he has no problem with where he's at. He has no motivation to elevate up to where she's at. Milton meets Lydia's family. Nothing too much there. It was a cute meeting. They seem to be getting along well. Stacy takes Izzy to meet her family, and this is where like we see like they loaded, and we can see Izzy is like, oh fuck, like this is nowhere near what I mean when I say I want to travel, or like I'm gonna reach a certain level. Basically, they're talking about how they went on this 2-week vacation to France, only 2 weeks, and they had a suitcase for shoes. The women just had one suitcase for shoes, full of shoes. You got to think about that. That's a lot of shoes, okay? For 2 weeks. So they had to be wearing a different pair of shoes every day. But, you know, that's the level they're on. That's the life that they can live. And he's like, here? And she's like, yeah, we went to France as a family. And you can see his face where he's just like, I will not be able to afford this life. Then she's talking to her family like, he just got a passport. He had paper plate. Like, she's telling them everything about this poor man, right? Like, he's so poor. That's basically, like, you guys won't believe how poor he is. He don't got a passport. He uses plastic plates, right? Like, he's going in. And then her family, her sister, her mom are like seeing how happy she is, like, emotionally with him. Meanwhile, we got dad being freaking realistic like I am, where he's like, listen, money isn't like super important, but like that baby bougie. He's like, I love my baby, but that baby bougie. Can you afford her? Like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to like handle, like, you know, he's like, she wants to live a certain lifestyle. And like, basically dad is kind of like, and if you can't provide it, that means I have to. And then Izzy says some weird shit. And I don't know if I was the only one who caught this, but he was like, yeah, no, I'm not worried about it. Like, you know, I'm not going to be like like basically these aren't his words, but like, he's like, I wouldn't be prideful if we did need help. You know, like he said something like, you know, if I couldn't help with it and, you know, you had to, someone else had to, like, I'd be fine with that. Like, I don't see myself, like, feeling any type of way about it. You should. Like, I don't know. To me, that comment was weird because it was, like, the dad said, like, I'll have to step in if you can't. And he was kind of like, yeah, I wouldn't be ashamed of that if that's what has to happen. What? Like, sir, don't nobody want to hear that, like, you're okay with taking daddy's money. It's weird. Now we move in to the cast meetup, right? So even people who didn't get picked are coming to meet. There's that dude that was like obsessed with fishing, who's like JP is his Captain America. We have Johnny, we have Renee, somebody else, I think. I forgot the name. But they're here. First up, we find out that Johnny and Chris are together. Now listen, when I first heard that, I was like, damn, Chris, damn. But I'm just gonna be completely honest. I feel like Johnny, oh my god. Johnny seems very genuine in how she feels about him when she was talking about him. She's like crying, she's emotional. I can see that she's genuine about like liking him, which I don't know. I get tricked so easily when it comes to love. Not tricked, but like, I love love. I love love. It seems so genuine. Like, she tells the story in the airport about how like she was like laying down trying to take a nap, and then like he goes to take a phone call and he gets up and she's like, oh, I kind of miss him. And then like as she's thinking that, he comes up and like, you know, does one of the like kind of like the reassurance hand holds. And that was just so cute to me. And I think it's so fire. Like, it sounds like basically she saw him and was like, whoa, I'm actually attracted to this man. Like, this man is actually my type. And I love that for them. Like, I get, like, yeah, he's second choice. But even she's like, you know, and there's a conversation with her and Izzy where she's like, I'm making up for my shitty behavior with him. Like, I don't remember if she says it in the confessional or to Izzy, but she says it. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm vibing with them right now. I like them. I kind of low-key hope that like they bring them back as like get engaged, you know, like on some Bliss and Zach vibes. I think it would be cool. I kind of mess with it, but I don't know. Maybe our minds will be changed. Maybe more information will come along. Okay, so we have this weird ass conversation that Izzy decides to have with Johnny. He pulls her aside to be like, you're shady, or you're sketchy. Everyone thinks you're sketchy. You lied to me. And one thing I will say, I love like her, I don't care what you think, you're bugging attitude, because she's sitting there like, why does any of this matter? You're with Stacy. I'm in love with Chris. Like, why do we need to have this conversation? Why are we talking about this? Like, she just looks so confused and like, what are you doing with him, right? But then like he's calling her sketchy and all these things, and she's like, okay, no, like I'm about to tell you about yourself, like you being weird. She's like, y'all are sketchy, like what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, you lied. You told Chris one thing, told me another. I thought back to the pods. What she said could make sense. I'm not saying that's what happened. It could be exactly how we saw it and she was trying to trick Chris into being with her. It also could be what she stated now, which is like, you were my number one. And I was like, I never take the jump, take the risk, right, with him. And then when he rejects her and he's moved on and she's stuck here figuring it out, she starts thinking about Chris. And she's like, you know what? Actually, I've never chosen, like, the Chris in the situation. I've never, like, given that a shot because it seemed like the boring thing or, like, the chemistry wasn't there. I go with a safe option, but never give it a full chance. Like, I never actually try, right? I'm just like, this is a safe option. I won't get hurt. And it's fine. I never actually try to invest myself in it. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I'm just trying to say, like, there could be a whole other view to this, right? She kind of opened my eyes to that a little bit. We will say that. But yeah, Izzy just keeps attacking her, which to me is so freaking weird. And I hope that in the reunion, Stacy, they like let Stacy see this and react to it. Because I just, with the way she reacts to it in the scene, I'm just like, what? Like, but I don't know. I feel like she wanted to react the way I thought she should, but maybe because the camera's with her, she was like, I just gotta support this man at this point. He's just going in on Johnny, and I'm like, why are you going this ham? I'm so confused. She doesn't care. She wants to move on. Whatever. So anyways, she's like, yeah, I'm walking away. You're not listening to me. I'm done. She walks away. She goes to Chris, and she's basically crying, obviously, because she's like, he said everyone thinks I'm sketchy. Like, is that true? Does everyone think that I'm, like, not a good person? You know, and she's like, I feel so bad because, like, I know what happened with you, and I know that was shitty, and da-da. Like, basically, he kind of brought up all that guilt and, like, shame again about the situation, which once again just made it clear to me that her feelings with him are genuine, that she is genuinely feeling so bad about the way things went. And I love that Chris was really reassuring, and he was just like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, don't listen to people who don't know what they're talking about. Like, I love that for them. Izzy calls Stacy over, and he's like, dude, I was reaming into her, dude. And I'm like, oh my God. I would never, I would never want my husband walking up to me, like, to be like, dude, my ex, I was reaming her. I was fucking telling her about herself. I'd be like, what? Why do you care? What the fuck is this? Like, why do you care? And at first, it seems like that's where Stacy's reaction is headed, where she's like, what? Like, what were you guys talking about? But, like, why did she say that? Mind you, he's, like, omitting, like, right? So he's like, she called me sketchy. She said that we're sketchy. And she's like, what? Why would she say that? How are we sketchy? And it's, like, because he left out the part where he was calling her sketchy, and she more so said it as, like, no, you're fucking sketchy. What the fuck are you calling me sketchy for? Like, that was the vibes. But he didn't tell her that. So she's like, well, fuck her. Like, she's lame. Don't compare me to the trash. But it kind of seems like she just kind of was like, yeah, like, whatever. Like, trying to act like she was cool with it. She didn't seem like she was. I think maybe cameras, or she was just like, I'm so over this. I don't know. But he was weird. Like, that whole interaction, the whole afterwards was just weird. And for him to be like, I just appreciate you so much. Like, and she's like, don't compare me. Like, don't sit here saying you appreciate me because she sucks. Like, what? And it's like, facts. Like, why the fuck are you gonna come to me and be like, I just love you so much? Because, like, I was talking to this girl, and she's so weird, and I'm just so happy and lucky that I have you and you're not weird. That's the energy that I was giving, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? What? Sir, are you okay? Are you good? Obviously, we have Uche here. I guess Aaliyah decided not to attend, but he pulls Lydia over. He's, like, wanting to have a conversation with her. He talks about how amazing she was to him, how wonderful their relationship was, but that there were things that were not okay. She lied. She lied to him about going through her drawers. She tried to act like she organically was trying to get information out of him, blah, blah, blah. So he's trying to go in on her basically about the stuff he said to Aaliyah. You know, like, you lied, you were creeping on me, you were being weird, you were obsessed, like, just admit it. It just clicked to me. I think he's trying to, like, get her on camera admitting to the things he said to Aaliyah so that the dots connect. And when she was like, no, what the fuck are you talking about? You could see, like, you could see him getting irritated and, like, still trying so hard to, like, force this girl to say what he wants her to say and how he wants her to say it. The Uche freaking original. Basically, she's like, no, like, that's not true. Like, I opened a drawer and found some, yeah, see, you're lying, da-da-da-da-da. Like, he's trying to get her to say, like, to match his narrative. And basically, like, he's going in on her, and she's like, you know what? None of that freaking matters. You know what really happened with us. You want me to say what happened with us? And you could see he kind of stutters and tries to just keep going with his and not acknowledge what she said. And she's like, you fucking cheated. She's like, you were sexting other women. And this is what I was talking about. When he spoke about the situation with Aaliyah, I was like, context really can be everything. Because if what she says is true, now the things make sense. It's not this pattern of just obsessive, crazy woman. It's I found something in your drawer that showed me you were cheating, or I found something in your text that showed me you were sexting, and now I'm insecure. So now I'm checking your friend's, I'm looking at your friend's Instagram story. It is still weird that they're on this show together. It does kind of seem like maybe she found out he was going to be on it and somehow got on it. It doesn't seem like it happened organically. Somebody did something inorganically here. But that's besides the point right now. Right now what I'm focused on is him trying to create this narrative. And then with her bomb, like I said, if it's all true, with her bomb, now it makes sense. First of all, so the whole like taking a picture of the driveway and being like, I see you, I think he tried to use this situation out of context with everything else to make it seem like she's obsessed. But honestly, even when he said it, before I knew all of this, when he said it, I was like, that could just be like normal. You know, when you're in a relationship, that's kind of a normal thing. You drive by your, you know, your husband's job while he's working, take a picture as you're driving by. I see you, haha. Like, as in like, hey, I'm passing by your job and I know you're in there. And him trying to make it seem like it was so scary and weird. She's obsessed. And it's like, no, she probably was just like regular interaction. Editing Norma here, really quick. I saw somebody mention that Lydia responded to this, that he like brought it up, and I missed that. So I went back and watched it. And she did. So basically he's like, oh, like, you took a picture of my house. And she's like, dude, I was driving by and we were having a conversation. Like, which I said it. I knew that that's exactly what happened. You know, like when you're talking to a friend and you're like texting a friend, you're like, oh, look, just passed by your house, or oh, look, just passed by your job. I'm pretty sure I've done it before where like I've sent a picture with it. So I'm like, it's not that weird. But he tried to twist it, like I said. So I think he was trying to spin a narrative and she wouldn't let him. But they get into this big argument and she's just like, I'm done. And she's like walking away to find Milton. And that's how the episode ends. We get the upcomings. We get him telling Milton, just walk away from her. Let's talk. We get him telling Milton, she came here for me. She's obsessed with me. Boy, bye. But we do see a scene of her laying down with Milton saying like, I came to find my husband and I did. And like they kiss and he's wearing the same sweater. So it's clear to me that that's probably from that same night. You know, like she got ready for bed, they got into bed and they're talking about it. I really hope that he listens to her and kind of goes with her rather than with Uche, because to me, regardless of what Lydia did, there's like ulterior motives here with Uche. I don't get it. Because the thing with Aaliyah too is like with him and Aaliyah, when he's talking to her and he's like, yeah, so like actually turns out she's crazy, I just didn't want to tell you because she's your friend, doesn't fully click, because like she said, she's like, but why were you so like concerned for her with Milton? Which is what I was thinking too, was like that part was weird of him being like, I don't want Milton to hurt her, she's such a great girl, such a great girl, such a great girl. It makes it seem to me like you did something. And then she tells us that he cheated and it's like, yep, that's clear. Yep, he's guilty about the cheating. Now he's like, fuck, I just reamed her a new one for cheating, Aaliyah, and I freaking cheated. Which is what Lydia said. She's like, he's trying to act up, like, because he knows what he did to Aaliyah when he cheated on me with a girl. He had sex with another girl. Like, and you're like, clickety clack, clickety freaking clack, bro. So obviously they don't want to give spoilers away. We don't know if there's another wedding. We don't know what's going on with the couples who are not engaged. I'm hyped for this upcoming, I like the way they did it where you don't really get too much of it. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going on. So I'm hyped for next week. But, those are my thoughts. Share yours in the comment. Like, let's talk, because I really want to know what y'all are thinking, if you're agreeing with my thoughts, if you saw the things that I've seen. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like the video if you did. Like I said, comment down below. I want us to talk. Like, I want us going back and forth. Subscribe for more content like this, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!